Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Intimacy Lab. I want to ask you something quietly but intimately. When was the last time you gave a woman a compliment that made her eyes soften, her shoulders drop, and her entire presence lean towards you in a way that felt real, not the usual "you look nice" or "I love your dress," but something deeper, something that resonates in places where words rarely reach? You see, so many men, even good men, think they know how to compliment women. But what most don't realize is that many compliments women secretly crave are not about appearance at all. They are about being seen, truly seen. We live in a world where women are constantly scrutinized on the surface. And yet, beneath the polished exterior, there is often a longing to feel appreciated for who they are when the makeup is wiped off, when the lights dim, when she is simply herself. Tonight in this conversation, we're going to pull back that curtain together. I'll help you discover not just what women want to hear, but what they long to feel when you speak. Compliments that no man ever says, but that every woman remembers because they make her feel desired, known, and understood in her deepest layers. So let's begin gently but honestly. So as we sit together here, I invite you to slow down for a moment and really listen. Because this is not about tactics or tricks. This is about presence, your ability to witness the woman in your life in a way that feels different from all the noise she's used to hearing. Most men rush to flatter what is visible. You look amazing tonight. That color suits you. You have beautiful eyes. And while these comments are appreciated, they don't necessarily nourish the deeper hunger that many women quietly carry, the hunger to feel understood beyond appearances. And this is where the first compliment comes in, one that most men never think to offer, yet when it's spoken authentically, it lands softly and powerfully. It's the compliment that says, "I admire the way your mind works. Pause here for a moment. This isn't about her intelligence in the abstract sense, as if she's being graded for performance. This is about reflecting back to her that you see the unique way she thinks, connects, imagines, and creates. Maybe she has a way of noticing details you miss, or of weaving ideas together with surprising grace. Maybe she can hold complexity without collapsing into certainty. Maybe her curiosity keeps her alive in a way that feels inspiring. When you say something like, "I love how you think about things, the way your mind moves when you're talking, it's beautiful," you're telling her that you are captivated not just by her face, but by the movement of her mind. This kind of compliment does something extraordinary. It makes a woman feel recognized as a whole person. It says that you notice how she navigates the world, how she processes it, how she makes meaning, and that this is something about her that draws you in. Imagine a woman who often feels judged for being too analytical, too thoughtful, too questioning, and then a man comes along who not only tolerates these qualities but praises them, cherishes them. It feels like a liberation, but to offer this compliment well, you must actually be present enough to see how her mind works. You can't fake this. Women are exquisitely tuned to authenticity. If you're not really paying attention, she will know, and the words will fall flat. So this becomes an invitation not just to speak differently, but to look differently. To notice the pattern of her curiosity, the rhythm of her reflection, the sparkle of insight when she connects dots that others don't even see. When you appreciate that about her, you're affirming something deeply personal, and you know what happens next. When she feels seen in this way, she relaxes. She begins to trust your gaze, to open up the parts of herself that might otherwise remain guarded. You move from the superficial into the intimate, and this is not about seduction in the cheap sense. It's about intimacy in its truest sense, intimacy. I know, for many men, this kind of compliment feels unfamiliar. You may not have been taught to speak this way or to notice these layers. But the good news is that you can learn, and it begins simply by slowing down and listening not just for her words, but for the way she thinks. And as you begin to offer this deeper compliment, you will notice something. The quality of your conversations changes. She will bring you more of herself, not just her looks, but her ideas, her questions, her reflections. She will feel safe to show you her complexity because you have signaled that you value it. This is where a relationship starts to feel richer, more textured, more alive. And just as you begin to grasp this first secret, that women crave to be admired not only for how they look, but for how they think, we step naturally into the next space of intimacy. Because beyond how she thinks, there is something else she deeply longs for a man to notice, and so we move deeper now, because when a woman feels seen for how her mind works, it awakens something. But this is only the beginning. There's another compliment that women secretly crave, one so often overlooked that it can feel almost foreign when it's spoken aloud. It's the compliment that says, "I admire your emotional strength." You see, many women carry an invisible weight. They hold space for the feelings of others, friends, children, colleagues, while often silencing or softening their own emotions so as not to overwhelm, disturb, or appear too much. In our culture, women are frequently expected to be the emotional caretakers, patient, understanding, endlessly compassionate. But beneath this social expectation lies a deep reservoir of emotional endurance that is rarely acknowledged, let alone celebrated. What happens when a man pauses, truly notices, and says, "I really admire your emotional strength, the way you hold so much, how you stay connected even when things are difficult"? It's disarming, it's surprising, and it touches a part of her that is usually left unspoken. This compliment is powerful because it doesn't minimize her emotions or dismiss them as drama or sensitivity. Instead, it recognizes the courage it takes to feel deeply and to keep loving, keep giving, keep showing up despite life's inevitable heartbreaks. When you acknowledge her emotional strength, you're telling her that you see how she navigates the full range of human experience and that you respect her for it. And this isn't about praising her ability to endure pain silently. No, it's about honoring the way she lets herself feel fully and keeps her heart open anyway. That kind of resilience is not weakness, it's wisdom. Many women are exhausted by the expectation that they must always appear together, cheerful, graceful, composed while carrying grief, disappointment, fear, and doubt inside. So when you look into her eyes and say, "Your emotional depth is something I admire so much," you are creating a rare moment of intimacy. It gives her permission to exhale, permission to be exactly as she is, without performance. And perhaps you're thinking, "But Esther, how do I say this in a way that feels natural?" You start by paying attention. Notice the moments when she shows grace under pressure, not as an obligation, but as her way of navigating the complexity of life. Notice how she responds to other people's emotions with empathy. Notice the tears she may fight back, or the quiet way she holds herself together when everything around her feels chaotic. Then speak to it, in your own words, in your own way. It doesn't have to sound poetic, it just has to feel genuine. Maybe it's a simple statement over dinner. "I notice how you show up for the people you love even when you're tired. I really admire that about you." Or maybe it's a whisper when she least expects it. "I love your strength, not the kind that hides pain, but the kind that embraces it." When you compliment her emotional resilience, you're not just giving her a gift, you're building trust because you're demonstrating that you're not afraid of her emotions. You're willing to stand with her in her vulnerability, not run from it, and this is rare. So many men feel uncomfortable when a woman expresses sadness, frustration, or fear. They try to fix it quickly, or they retreat. But when you stay present and offer a compliment that honors her emotional landscape, she will feel safe with you in a way that is profound. This safety is the soil in which intimacy grows, and isn't that what we all long for? Not just attraction or chemistry, but a connection that can hold the storms as well as the sunshine. You become the man who doesn't simply tolerate her emotions, but cherishes them as part of who she is. And as we pause here, having explored the power of recognizing a woman's mind and her emotional strength, we begin to feel the shape of a deeper truth emerging, that women crave to feel seen not only in what they present to the world, but in what they endure within. And there's one more compliment, perhaps the most surprising of all, that opens the doorway to her heart even further. There's a certain stillness that arrives when a woman feels seen in her intellect, and then again in her emotional strength. It softens something inside her. But even then, there's a layer that remains almost untouched, a place she often guards carefully, not because she doesn't want to reveal it, but because so few know how to reach it. This is where the third compliment comes in, one of the most intimate, yet one that men almost never say. I admire the way you bring light into the lives of others. You see, every woman carries with her a kind of radiance, but it's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it shows up in the way she laughs, that spontaneous, full-body laugh that makes people feel at ease. Sometimes it's how she welcomes a friend into her home, or how she remembers small details that make others feel valued. Sometimes it's simply her presence, the warmth she brings into a room, her ability to make others feel safe or inspired just by being there. This is a compliment that transcends the physical, the intellectual, and even the emotional. It speaks to her essence, that quality she brings to the people around her that lifts them up, even when she herself may not feel at her best. Most women never hear this because so much attention is paid to their surface, beauty, performance, productivity. But deep down, there's often a quiet yearning to be appreciated for the invisible impact they have on the atmosphere around them. When you look her in the eye and say, "You bring so much light into people's lives, I feel it every time I'm with you," you're acknowledging something far more profound than appearance or skill. You're affirming that her presence itself makes life richer, warmer, and more meaningful, and that you feel it, not just notice it. This kind of compliment doesn't come from observation alone. It comes from attunement, paying attention not just to what she does, but to how people respond when she's around and how you feel when she's near. Maybe you've seen how she comforts a child with effortless grace, how she offers words that heal when a friend is struggling, or how her laughter somehow fills a room with ease. Maybe it's more subtle. Maybe her quiet steadiness has become an anchor for those who love her. Whatever form it takes, when you name it, when you articulate this light that she brings, you give her something rare. The experience of feeling like her very being matters, not just her doing. And there's something almost alchemical about this, because when a woman feels appreciated for her essence, for the atmosphere she creates without even trying, she naturally brings more of that light into the relationship. This is not about flattery. It's not about saying something just to please her. It's about recognizing that the way she affects the world around her is part of her gift, and letting her know that you see it. When you offer this compliment, it's as if you're holding up a mirror and saying, "This is what you give, even when you don't realize it, and it makes all the difference." And this creates a beautiful paradox. The more deeply you see her, the more deeply she allows herself to be seen. She no longer needs to prove anything, perform anything, or protect anything. In your presence she can simply be. And when she feels that her mind, her emotional strength, and her very essence are not only seen but cherished, a profound intimacy unfolds. You become more than just her partner, her lover, her companion. You become her sanctuary, the place where she is reminded that she matters for who she is, not just for what she does or how she looks. And isn't that ultimately what we all crave in love? To feel that we can let down our guard, release our masks, and be met with tenderness, respect, and admiration at our core. So as we sit here together, reflecting on these compliments that women secretly crave, I invite you to feel the shift that is happening inside you too. Because this is not just about what you say, it's about how you see. And the way you see, a woman has the power to transform not only her experience of herself, but the entire quality of your relationship. When a woman senses that she is being seen on this level, her mind, her emotional strength, her quiet light, it is as if an entire dimension of your connection begins to open up. And in this space, words carry more weight not because they are clever or poetic, but because they feel authentic. This is where the conversation becomes less about saying the right thing and more about being the kind of man who can hold what is right in front of him. And I want you to notice something important here. These compliments we've explored together are not transactional. They are not tools for immediate reward. They are invitations for deeper intimacy, for mutual trust, for shared presence. Because when you compliment a woman in this way, you are not simply admiring her from the outside in. You are meeting her on the inside, at the very core of her identity. That's why this kind of appreciation has the power to heal. It reaches places inside a woman where she may have doubted her worth for years, sometimes quietly, sometimes heartbreakingly. So many women carry old stories about not being enough, not pretty enough, not calm enough, not accomplished enough, not soft enough, not strong enough. And then a man stands in front of her and sees beyond those tired narratives. He sees her as she is, complex, radiant, resilient, and reflects that truth back to her gently, consistently. It can be disarming at first. She may even brush it off. Oh, you're just saying that, not because she doesn't want to believe it, but because she's not used to hearing it spoken so sincerely. But if you stay steady, if your compliments are rooted in real observation and real presence, something in her will soften over time. You will see her trust deepen, her laughter come more easily, her body relax into yours not out of obligation, but out of genuine surrender. And this is where your relationship starts to evolve from surface level comfort to something much richer. Intimacy as a living, breathing practice. The simple truth is this: women crave to be seen, but they crave to be seen accurately, not idealized, not reduced, not judged, but held in the full range of their humanity. This is why these compliments are so powerful. When you say, "I love the way your mind works," you honor her intellect. When you say, "I admire your emotional strength," you honor her resilience. When you say, "You bring light into people's lives," you honor her very presence. Each one of these compliments weaves a thread of connection, a kind of sacred intimacy that can only emerge when you look closely enough to see what is often hidden beneath the surface. And here's something else you might notice. As you practice this way of seeing, you yourself begin to change. You begin to feel more grounded, more present, more attuned. You start to experience your relationships not as performances to manage, but as spaces to inhabit fully. And women will feel that. They will feel the difference between being complimented out of habit, "You look great today," and being complimented out of true attention, "I notice how much joy you bring when you walk into a room. The first is pleasant but fleeting. The second lingers because it nourishes something essential inside her." And that is the great invitation of this conversation we're having together, to move from compliments that are generic to compliments that are generative, that create intimacy, trust, and warmth between you and the woman you love. So as we come to this quiet moment together, I want to leave you with this reminder: your words matter. Your attention matters. Your ability to see beyond the surface matters more than you can imagine. Because in the end, love is not built on grand gestures alone. It's built on these small daily recognitions that say, "I see you, I appreciate you, and who you are is beautiful to me." Let that be your practice. Let that be your gift to the woman in your life, or to the woman who has yet to enter your life but is longing somewhere to be seen like this. Thank you for sitting with me tonight, for listening closely, and for being willing to learn how to love better, deeper, and more consciously.